Giganotosaurus. Sounds like Little Me's got a new nickname.
Spared no expense.
All right.
Welcome to another Space Turtle bonus review. This time we're doing the new film in the Jurassic Park series, the sixth one, if you can believe it. I can believe it. Jurassic World Dominion, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's the title. And, I don't really know what that has to do with the rest of the movie, but I guess that's what they ended up calling it.
You're right. It doesn't make any sense, actually.
I mean, that's what most of the movie is. So let's go right into, a plot overview. If I can think of one, they seem to introduce a lot of things that either just come up as callbacks to other characters in other movies, other scenes and stuff like that, or they introduce a bunch of problems and they don't really go anywhere with it. So I guess I can try and do my best. In the beginning, there's this crisis that's going on with all of these dinosaurs coming into the real world and wreaking havoc, stopping traffic and setting up nests on skyscrapers and stuff like that. And they have this really interestingly and juvenile type news cast, I guess.
The opening is weird.
Yeah, but
we can just flame the plot as we go through it.
Yeah. Anyways, it's just and then you cut to, I don't know, locusts? I don't even remember what happens in the beginning of the movie, to be honest.
Really, long story short, dinos attack people, corp bad.
Yeah.
But
they kind of almost develop the plot as they're going. So it's what they settle on is there's a new big corporation that's messing with, and they kind of push this theme from the beginning, from the first movie, where it's if you step too far into hubris with science, you're gonna get bit in the bum, I guess. But that's what the main story focuses around. It doesn't even focus on how people start to live with dinosaurs in the wild, and honestly how messed up the ecosystem would be if they just introduced 1,000 new species of apex predators into the wild. But
you can tell it's so fun. I told you this in the car, but I would just want to say it again for these people. But it just feels like if someone knocked on my door and asked me to make a Jurassic Park script and they gave me one day, this is about what would the first thing you would think of when you think of the next decision in the story? It's probably that, the amount of thought, stuff just kind of happens, people just run into each other, or people just decide to help, or there's a lot of leaps that have to be taken, which, leaps are fine, but, at least make it I'm willing to take a leap if it's for something cool, but there was never anything cool that I was taking leaps for. It was just for no reason.
Yeah, it was definitely in the beginning a little bit of calling back to other characters in the first two films of this trilogy, and just so that you could be okay, here they are. They didn't just disappear or something, because we actually don't care about them. What we want to do is introduce some new characters along with Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and of course again, what's his name?
Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
And so
you did Laura Dern and then the two other characters. But how'd you feel about those guys, though?
I thought they were the most interesting part of the film. The only sad thing is that they were kind of thrown in there, I would say, just because they needed to get rid of the old characters and introduce all these new characters. There felt like there wasn't enough time to explore any of the things that they were trying to shoe in, I guess there's precedence for Sam Neill and Laura Dern's characters romance, but I felt honestly that was a little bit extra in there that didn't need to be in there, and none of those types of emotional character connections make any emotional impacts for me. So
Well, but Josh, if they didn't have that, what would they have? You know?
no, not camaraderie or
What-
great acting or anything like that.
Well, I mean, there's not. No, they definitely don't have that in this one. And these are two great. Actually, put in Jeff Goldblum too. Like you can tell, I don't know, just the talent difference or like the charisma difference between the original three actors when they're with the new crew. It's just like palpable. It's like
Yeah.
two different colors you're looking at.
Yeah.
But I liked them as well too. I thought they were great, even though they were pretty flimsy characters. They were in it more than I expected, and I appreciated that at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to talk about first, like, were there any good things that you liked about the movie?
Yes,
Okay.
I can count them. I can count them. The motorcycle car chase thing with the
yeah.
velociraptors, you know, that scene. That was a really well shot action scene. I thought
Yeah.
it did really well with the tension. It's kind of what I was looking for with this franchise a little bit. If the whole movie were a little closer to what that was,
Yeah.
or at least like, no, this is a good thing. I'm not gonna go to complain. It's a good scene, you know. It's like the way they deal with the velociraptors. They are pretty invincible, but they are very scary. It's a good action scene because it mixes like tension, like fear, and like a thriller aspect along with your adrenaline and the action sense. So those two mixing, I don't see that very much. Other than that, it was like a pretty basic action scene, but it was well shot and well done, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That scene was tense. It did remind me of almost like James Bond, Mission Impossible type.
It reminded me of the scene from Mission Impossible Rogue Nation on the
Yeah.
motorcycles there, and that's a much better scene than this, but I actually appreciate it that it reminded me of a better movie. It
Yeah.
took me to a better place.
Yeah, for a split second, I was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of like a good action sequence, even if it's like very similar to other ones." But they do feel like motorcyclists chasing a motorcyclist, and there are some hilarious moments where they kind of just run into everything, and they're just totally unfazed. And there's this huge difference between how you're supposed to view dinosaurs that I felt was really jarring. Like there's scenes where they're trying to push them as like pretty much glorified pets, right? And they're like, oh yeah, they like have emotions and they care, and then in the other scenes they're like giant kaiju battle level, like terrifying monsters, which I think is not a bad thing inherently, but it does it a lot better in, well, I mean, it's not saying much, but it does it a lot better in the original film, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do much better than that one.
Yeah, there's a sense of awe with dinosaurs, and then the sense of like, oh, well, being ambitious like that can push things a little too far. And yet, in this one, it just pushes everything to such an extreme that it's like, oh yeah, there's this baby, I don't know any of the dinosaurs' name, but like the one with the horn nose in the beginning
Oh,
that she
yeah,
was
I
trying to
don't know.
rescue, and I'm like, that's like an absolute child, bro. Like I would die for that boy anytime, or that girl.
Yeah, they had some cute effects. Like I thought the effects were pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a positive.
overall too. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's some out there. I
Mhm.
actually, this has been something I've been thinking about recently. Like a lot of movies nowadays, they don't feel like movies anymore. Like the big budget ones.
Yeah.
There's just something about them that feels like super fake. It's
Yeah.
like the original Jurassic Park, you know, it was a movie. And this just doesn't feel, this feels like an approximation of what a movie would be.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
It's like something with this, and I like the MCU a lot, but I feel like the MCU falls by this, or like Fast and the Furious. Just recently, these huge corporate projects, they don't have a whole lot of soul. You know,
Yeah.
there's no heart or direction in any of these, and this is the latest example of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also think it's like a superhero-esque trend that is really, really um, detrimental in my opinion, because there's no movies about like regular people anymore that aren't like indie. You know, like
Yeah.
it's either regular people, oh, that must be like an indie movie, that's like a snooze movie or something, or there's like regular people like in Jurassic World where they just get like blown up, they just get like, it's just like the trend of like the Fast and Furious movies, you know, like in the beginning they're just like really down to earth, and I feel like that's such a bad trend, because I feel like in filmmaking, you don't need to make someone like be on, I don't know, like flying out of a plane trying to like throw a parachute for us to like fear for their life or fear for their safety, or even fear for them like emotionally or anything like that. And so they keep upping the ante on these people, and that makes them more inhuman, which makes me at least care a lot less about them when they're in danger too. So I don't know. It's just this trend of action equals higher stakes equals people just blatantly surviving things they shouldn't.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, big budget movies in the past have not always been like this. You know, you've got something like Lord of the Rings, which is a best case scenario, but
Yeah.
there are many cases like it where it's a full, like, complete kind of story that lets you really get into. It's a character driven movie that happens to be $200 million per film, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of films today, and you know, it's there's always been shitty movies in every decade, but it just doesn't feel like they're even trying anymore. You know, they're just not even. They don't even give a fuck. It's like they don't even care at all about doing about building character.
Mm-hmm. And I think that brings up another, like, a little bit of contrast that I was really taken aback by, and that's like the country western of the show and then like the synthetic sci-fi. Like, I felt like, especially in the beginning, they were bouncing between these tones so harshly that I was like, is this supposed to be like triumph of like, I don't know, Chris Pratt living in the desert. I mean, not the desert. I don't know why I said that.
I mean,
The
it's Wild
forest.
West.
Yeah,
You know?
Wild West. She's like the daughter character is literally seen like chopping wood. That's like how she's introduced. And then they also like, with Laura Dern's character and them, they go through like the market and the down underground area where it almost reminds me of like, I don't know, like Star Wars or Indiana Jones. And then they cut to just like the most, I don't know, pristine sci-fi, came from like Blade Runner 2049 or something like that, setting with the sci-fi part. So it's just like super. I'm not sure how to feel about the setting or slash tone. I'm not sure how to feel about dinosaurs. Don't even get me started on all these characters that are.
Yeah, and you know, like Chris Pratt, I want to talk about him for a second because he's fine in the movie. You know, he's fine, but I just I don't like Chris Pratt playing serious people. I always like it when comedians try to be serious, and you know, it's cool that he tried, but I just want him to go back now. You know, like if he's not funny, he's like, if you take away Chris Pratt's humor, like he doesn't have much else, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I just feel like his character suffered a charisma problem in this one because there was nothing defining about him other than, you know, doing
Yeah,
this with the dinosaurs.
bro.
You know? That's all he does.
It's
now.
a superpower now, for real.
He literally just puts his hand up and it's like
when they
it's like a laser beam. It's like
yeah,
wah,
that's
wah,
what
wah.
I was thinking. I was like, it was whenever they did like the angle thing.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, this is like Thanos against like all of the superheroes. Like,
Yeah, for real. It's like he had nothing else to offer. And, you know, Chris Pratt, he's a really fucking funny guy. I mean, you don't want to make him just like Star-Lord because it's like you got to do something different, but
yeah,
you could do something. I don't know, just play into something. Like
yeah.
there's more things you could do with that Owen character, and they failed to do it after 3 films, which, like, the first film, it's like, actually, I thought he was definitely better in the first film, but, you know, he's chilling, and then you just, instead of going up with the development and charisma, they just kept going downhill. So
Yeah. I also think that's because in like the first film, he had the ability to be like the everyman or like the rugged one, you know. He's like more caring towards the dinosaurs, more like in tune with the wild and survival instincts and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Bryce Dallas Howard's character started off as playing like a person part of the corporation or something, right? Like a scientist or something like that. So she gave like a little balance to his character and a little bit of roundness to like the villain or the corporation, you know? And in this one, it's like all of them are the rugged man, you know, or the rugged woman too, like the survivalist. And so like the only person you have on the other side is like Ramsey, I guess, which is like really weirdly introduced. There's like, yeah, there's just this guy that has so much power in this corporation, just like on your side randomly. And then the bad guy, obviously,
and he just like he just kind of shows up, you know.
Yeah.
It's like another one of those plot things. He just shows up. He's just there. He's like literally is it Deus Ex Machina? Is that's, or is it, I don't know if it's that term.
Yeah,
it's like the term where it's just,
it's like the key, like
just like to keep the plot going. Term. I don't know if that's what that is.
I think it is. But
someone
might be wrong. Yeah.
No one will correct
Too many terms, man. There's
yeah.
But then since like they were saying, it struggles with the charisma because that's his character, and now all of the characters are like that, and you have people like Sam Neill who can like do that better than Chris Pratt can with no humor, obviously. Well, Chris Pratt has no humor in the writing for this movie, in my opinion, and so he just disappears. Like I mean, he's a character in there, but I literally paid him zero attention, really.
Oh, also, just another thing on the writing, I hate when I'm so tired of, you know, everyone gets inside of a car and then someone just has to say, "Hold on." It's like, just drive. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's been like every single action movie since the fucking 1980s. Someone's got to say some cheesy line, and it's always something to the extent of, "I didn't sign up for this," or "Hold on," or "What's the plan?" And 2 out of 3 of those are in this movie. Like, of the sacred 3 shitty lines to be in action movies, you pick 2 of them. I'm just so tired of that I'm just so tired of that line. I'm so tired of it.
It's kind of funny because with those lines comes some of like the jokes-esque that come with this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it was so bad that it was funny. And I think you might disagree with me here, since because like the first one, she says, "Hold on," right? And then Bryce Dallas Howard says like, "What?" Is that?
Oh no, that one's funny. That when she goes, no, I meant like in the opening scene with like the. I don't know if it's a Triceratops. She's like, "Hold on," and they're like, "We can't," or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, you know, like, somebody hold on to somebody, or
oh yeah, true, yeah.
And then there was also when they were on the plane, they were like, I think it was just hold on that time too.
Yeah,
they did it like 3 or 4 times, I guess.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe you remember that. I mean, because you're probably fuming every time it
happened.
I was
so pissed that every single time it compounded my anger.
But yeah, there's that what scene, and then there's the one where he's like, "What's your planet?" And she's like, "I don't know," or something. I even forgot the line, but it's just like, that is so the movie. It's like there's no plan, but just because you reference it doesn't mean that fixes everything, you know? I want to put that out there, because although there were some funny moments in those scenes for me, just because they're acknowledging sometimes how like ridiculous this is, like the line, "You made a promise with a dinosaur."
Oh yeah.
It just, I mean, they were funny lines, but that doesn't excuse like not having your characters be like fully fleshed out and empathetic, and you know, the journey being I don't know, investable.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, as the movies go on, I feel like I actually feel like they become less developed, if that's possible. Like
Maybe
you're
more and
actually
more
going
caricatures.
backwards in development, you know? It's like they just get worse and worse. But one more good thing I have. I did think of another one. I like the villain. I think he was pretty good. I think
I think
like
he was funny.
he
I
was
don't know if he was
actu-
good.
Well, yeah, all right, yeah. Maybe he was pretty funny though. At least he
Yeah.
was funny, you know. It's he did that like Mark Zuckerberg pretty well.
Oh yeah.
He
Oh,
just doesn't even finish his sentences.
what was that weird like interaction with Ramsey when they like first met him and they're like and Sam Neill and Laura Dern were just like meeting him and then he's like, yeah, this guy's great. I think he's like the next me. Like, do you have any food? I think he asked.
Yeah.
What
No,
was that?
I don't. That's what I love about him. I think that was so weird.
That was the funniest moment for real though.
That was actually that was
Like-
my second favorite scene. Was that scene?
I was like, is he hitting on him or what's going on right now?
Yeah, it was
Like
It's
in
just so
front
weird.
of everyone.
so
Okay.
awkward, and it was
Yeah.
just
I also have a good scene though. I really liked the opening locust scene.
oh
'Cause
yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
that's such a good way to introduce. Although, if we're talking outside of the human villain, I thought like the excess of the locust plus the dinosaurs plus what's gonna happen with all these dinosaurs coexisting with humans. The triple issue of that, like none of them were solved, and you could have easily cut the locusts. Cause like why?
yeah.
But I thought it was a great introduction to the locusts. Cause being two little ass kids, man, and bro, this locust is like, bro,
It's
like-
big,
it's
bro.
a small dog, man.
It's scary, man.
Bro, it's like
Woo.
1,000 of them just come up and start chasing you. That's probably one of the realest scary scenes in the whole movie. Cause like
Yeah.
bugs, man,
Bugs
man.
are scary.
Huge bugs, man.
I'd cry
That's, like, the
myself to
worst.
sleep for
Yeah.
like 3 weeks if I saw that.
I wouldn't even mind if a whole movie was focused on like just giant locusts.
That would be so funny if they did the next Jurassic Park and it was just the locusts. No dinosaurs, just following the locusts.
No, at the very end you have Rexy fight the locusts.
Oh, I do have to say, it's fucking stupid that they had the T-Rex have help killing the Giga fucking shit.
You don't
That's
remember what it's called? Giganotosaurus, bro.
Giga Naughtysaurus.
Yeah.
Stupid. It was just why it's like it's free. You have the T-Rex win and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
But you had the T-Rex lose and then that weird like dicey one had to help him out and it's like that you now
Just
the T-Rex
cheapens.
has just lost his pride.
Yeah.
He's lost and he needed
just
help.
double teaming him, bro.
Just let him lose in peace if he's going to lose, but
No, he should have done like the T-Rex been smarter, you know? I feel like that's what they usually do anyways.
it does, like I don't even give it's not even that big of a leap either. You can't be like, "Oh, this is the biggest dinosaur, like he can't lose." Like you're making me take a bunch of other leaps. Why can't you just have the T-Rex fucking win? I don't
And
care.
he wasn't even that much bigger than the T-Rex.
Yeah, they were like the same size.
Yeah. He got some more thorns on him, I guess. Like other than that.
Yeah, and
He got the extra height of hair pretty much.
Yeah, everyone loves the T-Rex too. Like Jurassic World did it right. That's literally that's the reason why it made $1 billion is just because the T-Rex.
That was epic.
That's the real star of the show. Actually, the next Jurassic Park, I don't want any humans. Just follow the T-Rex, you know?
It's just a horror movie. That would be great, right?
Just the fucking T-Rex. I don't want any talking, just like and maybe he can beat up a Giganotosaurus. Like have that be the main bad guy.
Oh man.
you know?
Yeah, but I think in total, my thoughts are just like there's just so much going on, so many new characters, so many like problems to solve, and yet none of the problems were solved at the end. And they thought they could play some good, I don't know, happy music and show pictures of some dinosaurs next to some other animals. Like that makes sense. Like there was this one where there's just this giant like whale next to this even huger water dinosaur, and I'm like, as if he wouldn't just eat them or something. Like they're like singing kumbaya at the end or something. Like
You can't sing kumbaya like that.
first of all, they didn't solve it at
works.
all. But even thinking like, remember Australia, how they like introduced like a rabbit and now it's still an ongoing problem? That's like a fucking rabbit, man. This is like if they let in like 1,000 giant species of dinosaur, like shit would go off.
Yeah,
And
I mean, the world should be ending.
yeah,
It would be way cooler if the world were ending and dinosaurs were actually like fucking taking over
and it
the place.
focused on that, and it's like, and like skyscrapers, and there's brokenness everywhere, and it's like this post-apocalyptic like horror film with dinosaurs roaming around. That would have been fucking
It'd be
awesome.
way cooler. Like, I feel like people were talking about this one would be like kind of like Planet of the Apes but with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That
that
one.
sounds so cool. And then like that clearly didn't happen at all.
Yeah. Well, those are my final thoughts. Did you have anything last time?
Yeah. Final thoughts. A lot of things wrong with it. It had no soul. It was all over the place. It was basically like two different movies for a second there. And I like the original cast coming back though. That was cool.
Yeah,
And
very charismatic.
certain scenes every once in a while were not so bad. And it's really not as bad as I'm talking about, but it's just kind of like lame. It's just kind of lame. This movie's kind of lame.
It's long, forgettable, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so long.
It doesn't solve any of its problems, and for that, I think I'm gonna give it the industry plant rating. Turtle Top out of 10.
Nice, nice. I also am giving it a turtle top out of 10. It needs.
Just makes sense, man. It's the whole aesthetic of the rating and everything.
Yeah, it's just perfect for this movie. It's like, yeah, it's just kind of shit.
Mhm.
But I like Turtle Top, but not the best turtle.
Yeah, for sure.
Not the best
I
turtle.
literally don't even remember what happened in the beginning. We had to recap it before I got on here and talked. So yeah, that's it. All right, bye.